I've been taking my time, taking all of your time, taking all of your time.
Good morning. Okay, this is our lunch break live. I am streaming from both channels right now. So we're streaming from legal at some point and trending at some point. So if you see some comments pop up, it's like, I don't see that in the chat. It's probably from the other chat. Okay, we're going to get into it because it's a real lunch hour. So I got to stay on task. So I have two announcements. Okay. First one is please support our little bro of the palace, Prince Terrell, aka the Prince of Peace. I had that song playing. Terrell, your voice is so clean. I love it. I love when you hit your high notes. Please support him. He also has a release party on November 2nd, 2024 in Charlotte, North Carolina. So please support him. He is doing his thing. I love the song. I do. Okay. And then the second and last thing before we get into the topic is that if you are watching the YSL trial, if you watched the Young Dolph trial, there will be other defendants. So that'll be going again later on October, November, I think was what we got to the conclusion of. But there was one person definitely found guilty so far, Justin Johnson. We're doing that over there legal at some point. We're also continuing to cover the Naziah Harris murder because I started over here, but it'll be over there now. So please, if you do like legal topics, please support legal at some point. I appreciate y'all. And then let's go ahead and get into what we are here for. So first, we're going to define again what is a rule of or rule nisi, what that is. We're going to look at that because that is what Martell Holt filed was a rule nisi. And then we're going to get into some things after we look and see what that term is. So, all right. So first of all, the term rule nisi comes from Latin and means unless. In legal terms, it refers to an order or ruling that will become final unless one or both parties can show cause why it should not be. In other words, it is an order that becomes absolute unless someone objects. I did not do a mic check. Let me make sure y'all can hear me. No one's saying I'm silent, so that's good. I did not ask, but hopefully y'all can hear me. Okay. It says in family law cases, a rule nisi is often used as part of the process leading up to a hearing. It serves as notice to the opposing party that a hearing will take place and gives them an opportunity to object or show cause why the ruling should not be made final. A rule nisi can be used in various ways in family law cases, and a local divorce lawyer in Madison or wherever you live can always help advise you on whether to proceed or not based on your particular circumstances and facts. So, contempt proceedings. If one party fails to comply with court orders related to child custody, child support, or spousal support, the other party may file a motion for contempt. A rule nisi may be issued as part of this process to notify the non-compliant party of the contempt hearing and give them an opportunity to object or show cause why they should not be held in contempt. So also, I'm going to read the modification proceeding as well. After divorce decree has been entered, either party may seek modification of certain provisions, such as child custody or support. A rule nisi may be issued before the modification hearing to notify both parties of the hearing date and give them an opportunity to object or show cause why the proposed modifications should not be made final. All right. So we have a lot to cover. I'm gonna say there could be some trigger warnings in here because this topic itself is already like a high emotional topic, and then also just because it's not unique to only Martell and Melody. If you have gone through this and you have children, so I'm still going to say it's a potential trigger warning risk as we go through this, just because the topic can just bring up things that you may have or still be going through, because when you're dealing with someone like a Martell Holt, they drag it on for years. So, all right. So let's go to the rule of first refusal, first right of refusal, and get that explanation real fast. It took me a minute to get here because when I tell y'all Martell, I can't do him. All right, here we go.
Have generally a third party watch your child on your residential time, that you have to give the other parent the first right to refuse watching the child. That means they get the first dibs essentially at taking care of the child if you can't. Now, this is unique to every parenting plan, and there's different provisions such as how many hours, if it's overnight, if it's not a family member, but generally that's what a right of first refusal means.
Okay, so if it's public record, how can I say this? At this time, I did not look to go see what are the specific clauses of Martell and Melody's provisions when it comes to custody. So I don't have personal knowledge of how many hours before there is a first right of refusal request. But I will say that the hours can vary on when that kicks in. And I also am going to say up front, obviously, when it comes to Martell, that's not what matters. He does not care. It is for the control of it all. So also, but I'm saying this because we don't know. And Martell, we know, does not read because he doesn't pass his open book test. So to me, he does not read. That's my opinion. So we don't know if the clause says this many hours before it even is a thing that you have to even give him first right of refusal. Also, it has to be within reason. Also, there could be provisions that other family members can be called in to watch your children. Like that could be part of their agreement. So because he does not read full paragraphs or sentences, I don't know for and we don't know. So there is no one way of first right of refusal clause is written. It can vary depending on who it is. Okay, so I'm just saying that because he says that it's being violated does not make it true, which we know, but I have to say it for casual passerby. All right. So now we're going to go on to, and I know y'all have seen him before at this point, because anytime there's a narcissist discussion, I feel like, well, some of y'all had already told me you knew about him before I even play him now. So y'all have seen this person on TikTok and Instagram, but he's one of the ones that he identifies as a narcissist, and he educates people on what to spot in narcissists. So I'm going to play 2 clips of his talking about how narcissistic parents use the kids.
A lot of people ask me, why do narcissists use your kids against you as leverage? And of course, if you're new here, I'm actually a diagnosed narcissist. So one of the main reasons that a lot of narcissists will use your kids against you as leverage is because they know that you care about those kids and you love those kids more than they do. They know that the easiest way to control you or to get a reaction from you is by involving those children. Different ways that they'll do this is they'll threaten to take you for full custody, even if they've only been parenting like one week out of the year or something like that. It'll go from 1 hour a week visitation at your house to them threatening to apply for full custody or take you to court for full custody or something along those lines. They know that the easiest way to your heart is the children. And a lot of people ask me, like, do narcissists love their kids? Some of them don't, y'all. Let's keep it real. Some of them absolutely do not care about the kids. They care about the kids as much as the kids can serve them in different unique situations that are pertaining to them. So as long as the kids can serve me to get a reaction from you or to control your time or your schedule, something like that, I'll be involved with the kids. But as soon as that control runs out or that leverage doesn't have the effect that it used to, and I can't get those same or similar reactions from you, discard time. So hope that brought you some answers to your questions. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thanks. So a lot of people ask.
Okay. So obviously this is just one example. This is only one, but y'all remember when on one season, Martell pulled up to the house to say the kids had forgotten something, or he was bringing some irrelevant item to Melody's house just to be at her new house. And he was like, "You gonna let me in?" Do y'all remember that scene? That's just one example. Let me say this. As we go through this, I know some people won't be able to help themselves and say what Melody should do, but I think that when it comes to this, we don't know everything she's done, and I never really expect her to ever make public things that she's doing and what her attorneys are doing, because then you can't you give awareness and advantage to the other opponent. So therefore, just because Melody's quiet and she doesn't say things when it comes to this topic does not mean she is not being strategic and doing everything within her power. I agree with the person that was on Queen Sheba's live last night and said it's really the court's failing Melody at this point. It's not that she is not doing everything in her power. And you don't know what the attorneys say might be the right timing to do other actions and things like that. So keep that in mind. I know some people are still going to say what she should do, but you don't know what she's doing. And you don't know what steps she's taken so far and why she's taking those steps. So even as I'm playing this, it is not for advice to Melody. It is to talk about and share my opinion of how Martell is using this first right of refusal to stalk Melody. That is my opinion, and I'm showing examples and giving and just bringing in some different things to show why this is my opinion. So yeah, we're just gonna keep going, but I just want to say that I'm not making this as a Melody should do type video. Okay, so we have one more from him about the kids as well.
There are a lot of narcissists that don't actually want to be parents. And if you're new here, I'm actually a diagnosed narcissist. It's true, y'all. There are a lot of narcissistic people out here who just go through the motions of being a parent just to say that they got kids, just to say that, hey, just to try to show the world that they're a good person. Look, I fought in court for custody of my kids that I don't really want. I don't really want that parenting time. I want to have the access to that parenting time if I so choose, but I don't really want that parenting time. Like she said, like, he got custody rights, and then the same day he said, "Oh, I can't keep him this weekend. I got some other stuff going on." They don't actually want to be parents sometimes, y'all. They just want access to you, which is why a lot of times they will only come to see the kids at your house and never take them with them. Like, "Hey, baby, I gotta go. Can we come spend the night at your house?" No. I'll be back to see you next time. They will only do that at your house. And to just be involved in your life, to have some type of access to you, to have some type of control over you and whatnot. It's really never about the kids. It's about you.
It's never about the kids. It's about the person. Do y'all remember when Martell had custody and he was mad that his mother couldn't watch the kids? Y'all remember that scene? Again, these are just the examples that they didn't cut out and they showed us. Obviously, real life, it's times 100, times 1,000 that this is happening. All right, so next, we're going to talk about first right of refusal and how it can be used. Well, I'll say this. First right of refusal, a lot of times when there's an abusive partner, a ex-partner, a narcissistic partner, they will use first right of refusal to track your every move. It's so they can know what you're doing, because then it's like, if it's like enforced to the T or whatever, then you have to tell them, "Hey, I'll be here," or "Hey, I plan on doing this." Hey, and then there you go. It's like a reverse stalking. Like it's almost like you have to notify them on how to stalk you if they are that type of ex-partner. But there's a term, I just saw it, called parallel parenting, and basically it's the way I took it is no contact, using that family wizard at most, and nobody talks to anybody, but the kids go with the parents for now. Now, let me say this. For me, I advocate for sole custody and supervised visitation for Martell. That's what I'm hoping for in the end, because I don't think it's already proven that he does not do what's in the best interest of the children, and he is very vindictive towards his children, in my opinion. But just wanted to bring this up because, again, a lot of times when I do these, I end up seeing that it's always somebody in the chat or in the comments that also go through some of these things, so the information may help them. So I'm going to read it, although some of these things, the extreme has to apply to Martell. He just needs supervised visitation, and I hope the court sees what he's doing. I really do. But it says, for parallel parenting to work, you would want to eliminate any areas in the parenting plan that might require you and the other parent to communicate with each other. You would not want right of first refusal. A first right of refusal clause only encourages a narcissist to be hyper vigilant and in your business and even stalk you. They need to know your every minute so that they know when you are violating the order, basically not turning the child over to them when you are not available for the amount of time your right of first refusal clause specified. There are some right of first refusal clauses that say you have to turn your child over to the other parent if you will not be available for 4 hours, and some that say you cannot have anyone else watch your child unless the other parent is not available. Basically, these clauses are crafted by you or the other parent or both, and the court either approves and orders it or they don't. Hold on, sorry. If your state requires it, you will want to put the maximum time in there so that you are not subject to the constant badgering from the other parent wanting to know your private business, travel plans, and so on. They will claim this is all in the spirit of the order. You might think that it is best for the child to be cared for by a biological parent whenever one of them is available, and might not be thinking about how this might impact your life, your family life, and your child. You might not be thinking about when or if you get involved with a new partner, that child will develop a relationship with that person, and that person might be more supportive of your relationship with your child. So your child being with that person of your choosing whenever you are not personally or physically available to be with your child directly might be more beneficial for your parent-child bond. Let me see. One second. I don't want to read more than I need to. Okay, it says your right not to get along with your narcissistic ex is protected by the First Amendment. Okay. All right, I'm just going to stop there. But just showing that this is from fixedfamilycourts.com, but they're just showing that it is documented that narcissistic parents, abusive parents, partners will use first right of refusal just to know where you are. Like that's the main thing. They do not care about actually watching the child. They just want to keep tabs on where you're going ahead of time. All right. So I have a couple ladies here that talk about stalking parent tracking children. So we'll start here.
Let's talk tracking devices. One issue that I see come up a lot in Florida custody cases is people complaining that the other parent has put a tracking device on the child or in the child's belongings in order to locate the child during the other parent's period of time sharing. Now, generally speaking, Florida law does not permit you to place a tracking device on another person's property or the child's property in that person's care without their consent. In fact, it's actually a misdemeanor to do so in the state of Florida. Now, there's a few exceptions to this. You can place a tracking device on the minor child's property if you are not divorcing, you're not separated, and one of the parents consents. If you are the sole parent of the child and the other parent is deceased. If you have sole custody over the child, or if you are getting divorced and both parents consent. So unless one of those exceptions applies, it's a crime to put a tracking device in your child's belongings in order to track the location of the child and the other parent that you're divorcing. Good luck.
Okay. And obviously she's practicing in Florida, so this was specific to Florida, but obviously other states are going to also have this same law. This is some tips or some ways to be aware from these other two ladies about how how does it say? How to know if co-parents are surveilling you through your kids.
Hey Jay, how do I know if my co-parent's surveillancing me? So I'm going to share with you 3 ways that you might be surveillanced. One of the ways that they might surveillance you is hire a private investigator to follow you around or put a tracker on your car so they know your location at all times. Sometimes they do this to build a case against you for court, or they just want to know where you're at with the kids. And also sometimes they'll use your children as a way to surveillance. So they may ask the child to, videotape during their FaceTime call within the home. They may put on the location in regards to electronics like their iWatch or iPads. And then they also might put air tags in your child's backpack so that you can't find it, so it signifies whenever they know where the children are at all times. They also might have the kids play video games with them in your home over video or TV so they can see what's going on in your home around them. Yeah, and other ways too, they try to get people in the community to report back to them so that way they can keep tabs on you at all times. Yes, these are called flying monkeys. So that might be neighbors, it might be family members, mutual friends. They have these people manipulated in order to report back to them on your whereabouts. And the reason why they want to know where you're at all times is either for control, fear of abandonment or loss of you moving on, so they're feeling rejected, or just for a sense of superiority and power. Yes, and just being aware of these tactics is really important so you can protect you and your family.
Okay, do it. Yes, you caught it. Flying monkeys. You caught it. Yep. And Destiny Payton definitely, to me, falls in the category of a flying monkey. To recall on the show, obviously, when she kept telling Melody she needed to depend on her village to watch the kids, that was Martell's lines. She's doing it now. I heard when she's over there being live with Coleslaw, whatever she want to do. But also, again, I think, were the kids in that live too? I don't remember, honestly, because I didn't go watch it, but I heard. Destiny is one. There are many, many more. I mean, honestly, this is why a lot of us have a problem with the rest of the cast. Everybody tries to put it on this surface level vanity issue, and it's not that. It is definitely very much that a person is using other people to also help them do their bidding. And so, but Destiny is high on the list. Destiny is high on the list. And now, of course, in my opinion, Martell is trying to pull from LeBeric's playbook, because Destiny did actually get held in contempt when LeBeric filed his rule nisi, but the difference is the court gave Destiny time to provide proof. I think she just didn't have any proof, and therefore it was confirmed that she really was in contempt. That's the difference, in my opinion. But it's like, let's see if we can now get your ex-wife the same thing that got me. You know what I mean? They just copy each other all the time. So anyway, the fact that they said flying monkeys sent me, because I was like, that's exactly what, that's been the phrase in the last few weeks, maybe last couple months or so. And yes, Shan, with the tracking the kids with the iPhones, and make sure y'all Android has an app as well. It's a tag tracker, not tracker, but identifier. Like, you can get the app and it'll search for trackers near you. The little air tags, near you. So use that app. There's probably different ones by now. I don't know which ones. I know I have one on my phone, but I haven't used it in so long. I don't know if I know what it's called. Let me see if I can see it real fast. Because ever since I got it when they did a story about this dude that was just, I don't know if he was stalking an ex or if it was just a random stranger stalking this woman, but they were doing it by putting air tags on their cars. I don't see it now. But if you type in AirTag in your Play Store, if you're Android and of course iPhone, you can definitely get a thing that'll beep and it'll let you know if you have some near you. So that at least helps you be aware. So there's a tip just in case, because the AirTags are very discreet. So you have to actually consciously be wanting to look for one to probably see it. Okay, so then now let's talk about post-separation abuse, which is also what I believe Martell is doing.
Ever heard of post-separation abuse? It's not talked about very often, but it's pretty common in family law cases, and here's what it means. In high conflict custody cases, the high conflict parent usually has 3 main goals. And those goals are the need to win, the need to control the other parent, and the need to punish the other parent. Post-separation abuse can take on many forms, but here are a few examples. One is financial abuse. This could be controlling when and how child support is paid or how expenses are reimbursed. Another is coercive control. This is when someone consistently undermines, belittles, or instills fear in the other parent. A few other examples could be counterparenting, parental alienation, and abuse of the legal system.
All right, we're going to talk about a little bit more about post-separation abuse. And this is from onemomsbattle.com. I'm only covering 4 categories here, but you can see that there's more on this wheel than just that. But the first one is neglectful or abusive parenting exposes children to unsafe content, situations, or people while using violence, intimidation, threats, manipulation, or ridicule to gain compliance from the children. Then you have isolation, creates false narratives and spreads rumors to family, friends, teachers, and community relationships to discredit or destroy reputations and compromise current or future support systems. Then you have harassment and stalking. Sends a barrage of manipulative, threatening, or abusive messages with the intention of terrorizing or intimidating, monitors whereabouts and activities through social networks, social media, spyware, or physical stalking. And then the last one I'm going to talk about is legal abuse. Disregards and manipulates court orders while misusing legal systems to control, harass, intimidate, and exhaust financial and emotional resources. Seeks custody orders as a means of revenge, punishment, and control. I'm sorry, y'all. This one's a hard one. We're gonna get in more into legal abuse defined by this next person. Let me make sure I have the right person. Hold on, I might have to take it down. I think this is
What is legal abuse? Legal abuse happens when someone uses the court system to control, bother, or drain the money of another person. Women disproportionately face this in family court. An ex-partner might drag out custody fights, make false claims, or keep filing court papers just to make life hard. This is a way to keep control, even after the relationship is over. Many women find it tough to pay for lawyers and court fees, making it harder to stand up for themselves and their kids. We need to change the system to protect women from this kind of abuse.
On here is talking about the legal abuse that a narcissist will put you through to ruin your life. So let's talk about it. As you escape your abusive relationship, the narcissist will lie to cops, courts, and custody judges to get you in trouble, tie up your money, and seek revenge on you. When they see that you are finally exiting and you're for real this time, their fear of abandonment gets triggered and they get into very split thinking. All good, all bad. You now are on their all bad side and they will go after you, sometimes for weeks, months, and years. And they have a very scorpion and the frog mentality. They will sink you, take you down, even if it means burning down their own boat that they're on. They'll make you spend all your money on a divorce. They will try to take as much custody of the children as possible, even though they weren't even really interested in the children before this. They will file false police reports to try to get you arrested. They will try to get you fired from your job. They just keep coming at you, and they recruit their flying monkeys to lie on their behalf in court as well. If this is happening to you, it's called legal abuse. It's a very real thing, and narcissists do it all the time. All I can tell you is that it is worth all the money that you have to get a really good lawyer to defend yourself from these allegations, because they could tie you up in the court system and ruin your life for years afterwards. If you've been the victim of abuse, there are free legal resources in your county through women's shelters and charity organizations. Now would be a good time to call up any family member or friend who you've ever known in this legal field who can give you some advice if you don't have a lot of money. Anytime that they have harassed you with text messages that are threatening, anytime they've stalked you, any injuries that they've left, take pictures, keep the emails, keep the texts, keep everything. Because what's also gonna happen if they have a criminal record themselves or a record of suing people before is they will get in trouble again with someone else because they do not change. And then when the police come to you asking if they've ever abused you, you will have all your evidence. So you will be helping future victims as well as yourself. If you would like one-on-one narcissistic abuse recovery coaching, you can email me. My email's in my bio.
Okay. A lot of key points. They will not stop. She also used the term flying monkeys. And the keeping notes and documentation, y'all know when Melody has gone live a few times, she has said, I send it straight to my lawyer. I sent it straight to my attorney. Like that is, she's take comfort in it's all being documented. There's only so much that you can control outside of yourself, but just take comfort in that. Like, but yeah, they don't stop. They don't stop. This is from someone that actually had a single mom that went through this. So I'm gonna let y'all hear them real fast.
Survivor to spend time, money, and emotional resources responding to legal actions by their ex is considered legal abuse. It allows the abuser to assert control and power long after the relationship has ended. Now, I'm not talking about fair custody cases where there's two active parents trying to make things fair. I'm talking about the misuse of the court system and using harassment and intimidation as a means to abuse someone legally. Ask any single mom in your life if she's been dragged through the court system unjustly by her ex, and I guarantee you she'll say yes. There's also a specific behavior referred to as stalking through the court, and it literally feels like you're dealing with a terrorist. Seeking full custody as a retaliation against you, failing to comply with court orders, even those that have been agreed to, filing meritless motions against you, and portraying you as the unfit parent. I am no legal expert, I am no counselor, I am no psychiatrist, but I am the son of a single mom who's gone through all of this. And I hear from hundreds of other women every single day who are dealing with this same thing.
All right. So there's a child that grew up with that, and now they're an adult speaking out about it. Phyllis Price, thank you very much for the super sticker. I appreciate you. Thank you. Okay, so I didn't want to leave this without just some kind of way. Now, again, this is not me offering any advice. This is just, I wanted to leave it with what are some solutions though, just in the general space of dealing with an ex-partner like this and you have children together. So that's where I'm about to come from this. So I'm going to point these things out. And, you know, do with it what you will. Hopefully this is helping a single parent out there that's dealing with this. But so it says what is taken into account during the first right of refusal agreement. And one thing that caught me was this part. It says parents' background. So this would be obviously for, I would say, a modification at this point, but parents' background. It says one aspect that is particularly salient when arranging first right of refusal custody is each parent's background. If one parent has a criminal history that involves convictions for domestic violence, stalking, abuse, and potentially pharmaceutical offenses, this can be considered reasonable grounds to refuse first rights. Indeed, there doesn't necessarily have to be a conviction involved in some cases. Charges, allegations, or even anecdotal evidence of such behavior can factor into the decision-making here. This is one of the reasons it's always important to engage an experienced attorney to make the best representations of your character. So there is one solution. And then my last two things I have to show you are from, and I think he's still a practicing attorney, but at one point he was a judge and he advises on family law a lot of times. That's what I saw today anyway when I was looking at his channel. So here's some parting advice.
Narcissistic ex is going to be making false allegations during your high conflict divorce and or custody case. But guess what? Those false allegations are actually a roadmap to exactly what they are doing. So how do you handle it? Well, I'm going to tell you how to handle it, and you do it in 3 ways: iteration, documentation, and litigation. First, in iteration, they're making the allegations to you. So you take a look at yourself and see how you can act moving forward to avoid those allegations sticking through your litigation. Number 2, documentation. You start to document and look for things that they are doing that are along the lines of those allegations so you can prove them in court. And finally, in litigation, you gear your discovery towards those allegations since they are admissions.
Okay, use his own allegations against him or anybody in general as their own admissions. And the last one from the same person, this is the last one, but I'm trying to figure out how I want to say this. Obviously, everybody at this point is aware of the very real physical danger that, in our opinion, Martell poses. We all can only operate within, our choice of faith, and then depending on the limitations of the legal system. And then obviously there's extra measures that have been taken that Melody made public. For instance, if she trains for, and she said this, she trains in the dark. So so it just happened, if there's possibly not a bodyguard around, she's training. Then she has her bodyguards. She's getting therapy. The kids are getting therapy. There's only so much you can do. So just understand. I don't know how, I'm just saying, make sure that you understand this is a sensitive topic is what I'm really asking everybody. Like, it is very sensitive. We all see it. And if we're tired and not even going through it, just imagine again how the actual family that's going through it feels. Alpha MC, thank you for the super chat. She said, you are walking in your path, trending. Blessings to you, your channel and you. And thank you very much, Alpha MC. I definitely appreciate the support. Thank you. And so here's the last piece of advice. And then I'm going to, after I play this, I'm going to go ahead and just end the video, because my thing is, I barely made it to do this. If there's another piece to tackle, I will try in a separate live, but I barely made it to this because it's so touchy. It's so touchy. So, all right. So here's the last piece, and then I will see y'all again later in these YouTube streets.
The number one thing that your narcissistic ex fears the most in any divorce or child custody case. By the way, if you're new here, my name's Judge Anthony. I've been a family law attorney for over 20 years, and I served 5 years on the bench as judge. And I can tell you, without a doubt, that the number one thing that your narcissistic ex fears in any divorce or child custody case is being exposed. They don't want their reputation to be exposed. They don't want the truth about your relationship to be exposed. They don't want any abuse to be exposed or adultery to be exposed. They don't want their finances to be exposed. And the problem is when you're pushing papers back and forth between lawyers and going through mediation and sending nasty texts back and forth and trying to do negotiation with them or filing meaningless petitions, none of those things gives them the threat or the feeling of being exposed. So that puts them in their power position. The only way you're going to make them see that there's a very good chance that they're going to be exposed, or the only way you're actually going to expose them, is to push the case forward like you are going to try the case. Participate in hardcore litigation. Participate in very aggressive discovery to get to the bottom of their assets, their liabilities, their incomes, their parenting style. And if you go to trial, great. That's going to be a chance for you to expose them in there with real evidence and real testimony. But if you don't, at least you're going through the motions, and that will bring them to the table to settle.